Hey, I'm PH and welcome to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to study the words and works of Jesus to give a clear understanding and a deeper appreciation of the love of God expressed through this most important figure in human history. And I hope these videos will help you in your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. Who were the 12 disciples of Jesus? There were many people who wanted to follow Jesus, but only 12 that were called to be his disciples. Among the first to follow Jesus were Peter, James, and his brother John. Peter, James, and John had been laboring all evening and were washing their nets along the shore. At that moment, Jesus stepped into their boat and asked them to push off just a little from shore, and from there Jesus began to teach the crowds. After he was finished, Jesus commanded them to let down their nets for another catch. Peter protested, saying, "Master, we have toiled all night without catching a single fish, and by this time of day all the fish are out of reach. But because you commanded, we will do it." Immediately the nets became so full of fish that they called for additional boats to help, and all the boats were so full that they began to sink. Witnessing this miraculous event, Peter fell on his knees before his Messiah, confessing that he indeed was a sinful man. Jesus replied, "Do not be afraid, for now you will be fishers of men." When they reached the shore, Peter, James, and John left their boats and followed Jesus. Sometime later, Jesus and his disciples were continuing through the region of Galilee, and they came across a tax collector by the name of Matthew sitting at his regular station. At that time, tax collectors were Jews who worked for the oppressive Roman government in order to extort their own people, and they were despised by the religious leaders and the Jewish society for their greed and corruption. Jesus, however, approached Matthew and said, "Follow me." And leaving everything, Matthew rose up and followed Jesus. Later that evening, Matthew hosted a great feast where he invited a large company of fellow tax collectors to meet Jesus. As Jesus ate, the religious leaders said to his disciples, "If your master is truly the Messiah, why does he eat with people such as these, vile sinners and traitors?" And Jesus replied in the hearing of all, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but only those who are sick. I have not come for those who wish to remain comfortable in their own self-righteousness. Rather, I have come for those who wish to repent from their sin and find forgiveness." In total, the Bible mentions 12 disciples: Peter, his brother Andrew, James and John, Matthew, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon, and Judas Iscariot. The calling of the 12 disciples reflected the heart of God, as Jesus did not choose from the highest and most esteemed from the Jewish society. Acts 4:13 says they were ordinary men who responded to Jesus' call to pick up their cross and follow him. The Gospels highlighted their failures as much as their successes, their confusion as well as their understanding, their doubts as well as their devotion, ultimately showing how their time with Jesus radically transformed their lives, filling them with a knowledge, a strength, and a boldness that could only come from the Spirit of God. According to historical record, every one of the disciples except John and Judas were martyred for their commitment to Jesus, but not before the gospel of Jesus Christ was spread to the ends of the earth. This invitation to discipleship is to this day extended to everyone who is willing to humble themselves, confess their sin, and believe that Jesus, the Son of God, died on the cross and rose from the dead. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.